Since E3 2018, there has been some interviews and small pieces of information, but we've all been waiting for QuakeCon, where we all assumed that we'd get a better look and understanding of what Fallout 76 really is all about. Thankfully, that's exactly what we got, although I will personally say that I had hoped for more gameplay footage, but really the focus was just showing off how perk cards work, the character creation system, photo mode, and answering some of the big concerns many have had, like the potential problems players may have with griefers. Anyway, we have a ton of information to discuss, and in the background of this video, I'll be playing the new footage that Bethesda presented. So let's begin with the character creation system. It appears the game starts with us waking up in Vault 76 on Reclamation Day, where we then begin the game creating our character. We also obtain right at the start an ID badge, which will allow us to customize our character and use photo mode anytime and anywhere in the game. Interestingly, the photo mode images you take will appear whenever a loading screen appears, like when you're fast traveling. Next, once you leave Vault 76 for the first time, you'll level up for the first time as well. And this is actually when we get into the perk cards, which are a massive part of this role-playing experience. So once you level up for the first time, you choose a special category to put a point towards. You automatically start the game with a point in each category, and you stop gaining special points once you hit level 50, meaning you'll be able to gain probably around 57 special points in total, although you may be able to gain one more point for each of the 7 special categories depending on if bobbleheads work in a similar way it has in previous Fallout games like Fallout 4. Now, unlike previous games, each category's max is now 15, so pretty much nobody can have a godlike class, which were possible in Fallout 4, which I will say I actually do like this decision, and I don't think any of us wanted everyone maxed out in every single category. So also once you level up and choose a special category, you choose a perk card from any of the 7 special categories. This continues even after you hit level 50. You can swap any of your perk cards at any time, but for example, if your special category for strength is at a 7, you can only have perk cards that equal up to that. So you could have one card that goes up to 5, as that's the limit with perk cards, and then maybe 2 more cards that are at a 1. You have some flexibility and decisions to make, as maybe you have 7 1-star level cards or just one really powerful 5-star card. So to get a little bit more descriptive with what perk cards actually are, they're the abilities and skills that you earn. Although there is no set skills you can choose from like in Fallout 4. In this game, perk cards come randomly when you level up. There appears to be multiple ones that you can choose from, but I suppose if there's one that you really want, you have to keep playing the game, as there is said to be hundreds. Eventually though, you'll get it, or maybe a teammate may share the card with you. Also, each 2 levels that you gain until level 10 and each 5 levels after that, you unlock perk card packs, which are 4 random cards that also come with a piece of gum that actually can help reduce your hunger by eating it. Now, one special category that many have been curious about is Charisma and how it works without NPCs, and Bethesda stated that it's a category mainly built for those playing with a group, and by investing in Charisma it allows you to share cards with your teammates and make them more powerful. Charisma does help solo players somewhat, as Bethesda did state that they implemented a few cards to help solo players, with one example being the Lone Wanderer card that apparently will give a bonus to experience and damage when you're playing solo. Now, thanks to Reddit user Zirkin19, we also have pictures of all the featured perks that Bethesda showed off during their QuakeCon panel. I'm not going to show or talk about them all, but a few examples are Expert Heavy Gunner, that says your non-explosive heavy guns now do plus 10% damage, Mysterious Stranger, which has the Mysterious Stranger appear more often when using VATS, Goat Legs has you taking 80% less damage from falling, Exotic Weapon says you can now craft rank 1 exotic weapon mods, but plans are required, Batteries included says energy weapon ammo weighs 30% less. Percepti Bobble has you hearing the directional audio when you are in range of a bobblehead. Vaccinated has your chances of catching a disease from creatures reduced by 60%. The last one I'll mention is Quack Surgeon, which allows you to revive other players with liquor. Anyway, I will include a link in the description to this Reddit post so you can see all the perk cards found so far, but there certainly is a lot of choices that players will have, and I do want to mention that these card effects will vary depending on level, because some of the ones I mentioned had an increased level. But continuing on, let's next go over the new details regarding PvP and griefing. So Todd Howard and Jeff Gardner discussed their anti-griefing measures and how they're turning a-hole gamers into fun content. Pretty much Bethesda wants there to be danger without griefers, but they know that that won't entirely be possible. Pretty much a player can attack another player, but only minimal health will be lost until the other player engages. If they do engage, then a battle ensues, and depending on their levels, a higher or lower cap reward will be given out to the victor. If you lose a fight, the opposing player can also loot your body for junk, and only junk, which is pretty much crafting material. Although, as Bethesda noted, you can make sure not to carry around too much junk by storing it in a stash at your camp. Now additionally, within these PvP fights, if you lose, you'll have the option to get revenge and gain double the cap reward. So how does this involve griefers? Well, when that first minimal damage hits, and if you choose not to engage, they can keep hurting you and eventually you will die. But what this griefer has done is become wanted. They earn no reward for killing the player who did not want to fight, a big red star is placed on the map, and a big caps bounty is now on their head. And also that bounty actually comes from their caps. This griefer also no longer can see anyone on their map, while the bounty hunters can see him. So pretty much there's consequences for being an ass, although as some people noted, this still could be abused by a player who has no caps on them at all, so it will be interesting if Bethesda can stop people from abusing this wanted system. Some other griefing and or stopping a-hole measures Bethesda has made are including a pacifist flag mode, which essentially won't allow other players from jumping in front of you as you battle maybe a super mutant or another monster. Pretty much Bethesda found internally some players would just jump in front of you as you are shooting at a monster and try and engage and force a PvP fight that way. The pacifist flag mode will stop that from happening. Additionally, voice chat will be enabled depending on if another player is close to you in a certain area, although you could simply just mute them if they're being annoying or if you just don't want to talk to them. Also, you have the option to block them, which doesn't allow them to see you on their map, although it only makes it harder for them to follow or annoy you, as they could randomly find you later on, but getting away should be pretty easy. Now, a quick rundown of some of the other new information is you can fast travel to any location you have found like in previous games, but it will cost caps this time. The amount of caps depends on how far you wish to fast travel from your current location. So if you go all the way across map, it will cost more. Bethesda did state that jumping to your closest location and to the entrance of Vault 76 will be free. We got our first look at a crossbow, which obviously is a new weapon. Radio stations are back and will include the most tracks ever in a Fallout game. Todd Howard was asked why the beta is coming so late, and he didn't really provide a straightforward reason, but did say that they are internally testing the game right now and working hard to get it ready for this October. Private servers and mods were mentioned. As Todd Howard stated, modding is complicated since this is an online game, but they understand how important and big it is for their games, and that right now they have started to design the ability to use mods, and they are committed to this. Mutations were discussed a little bit, which are gained by gaining too much radiation. Jeff Gardner giving an example of a mutation he ran into, which was called Bird Bone, and it had his character increasing height and jumping, but lowered his strength. As shown in one of the perk cards we went over earlier, it looks like ammo is no longer weightless, which makes sense being that Bethesda discussed how important weight management in this game will be. Lastly, we got some new details on how VATS works, with it being discussed that players cannot actually target body parts unless they have a specific perk card enabled. So this essentially is all the information included from the QuakeCon panel, and it certainly is a ton. Although I will admit, I really did wish the Q&A section had included more heavy-hitting questions and more information on subjects that have been barely touched on thus far, like the actual story of this game. Also, as I mentioned earlier, I was hopeful more gameplay footage would have been included, but I will say, I at least feel that I learned a lot more about Fallout 76, and I really do like the concept of the wanted system. Perk cards seem a bit complicated, but I believe once we start playing the game in October, adjusting to the system will be pretty easy. There has been some concerns arising over the possibility of perk card packs being a sort of microtransaction, mainly just because we're all used to cards being just that, but Pete Hines of Bethesda kinda shut this down on Twitter by saying you only gain them by leveling up. For now though, we wait for our next reveal, which I hope is a proper gameplay demo. Whatever is shown, I do think that may arrive at Gamescom 2018, which is just around 2 weeks away. Anyway, let me know some of your big takeaways from the QuakeCon panel down in the comment section below, but thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy this video or found any informative value. Also consider subscribing for much more Fallout 76 content to come, and I'll see you later.